Good evening y bienvenidos to Chicago Tonight Latino Voices. I'm Alex Hernandez of Noticias Univision Chicago, which airs every weekday morning at 5 and 6. On the show tonight, altercations and arrests at police station migrant shelters. We hear from volunteers working with asylum seekers about what they're seeing, exploring the pride and pressure that comes with being a first-generation Latino American. Reconnect with your roots at Morton Arboretum celebration for Hispanic Heritage Month. Step into Ballet Folclórico de Chicago before they step off at the Mexican Independence Day Parade this weekend.
The genre of Mexican regional music has gone up by 40% in just the last year.
And music journalist Sandra Treviño on the Mexican music sensations that are sweeping the nation. All that coming up. But our first story tonight, incidents at police stations housing migrants. That's right after this.
Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices, is made possible in part by the support of these donors.
About 1,600 migrants are living in police stations across Chicago, according to city data. It was intended to be a temporary solution, but many of those men, women, and children have been sleeping on floors or in tents outside police stations for months. And in the last week, altercations between asylum seekers and police have also resulted in the arrest of migrants. Joining us now with more are three volunteers from the police station's response team. They are Catherine Zamarron, Diego Garcia, and Erika Villegas. We also invited representatives from the mayor's office to join us for this discussion, but we did not hear back from them. We also reached out to the Chicago Police Department, which declined our invitation. But I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Ladies first, so Erika Villegas, I want to start with you. You actually helped organize the volunteer efforts around a number of stations in the city. Do the conditions vary station from station?
They do. The conditions actually have worsened from the beginning of my journey back in April. But there are stations where we do have collaboration from police officers, and unfortunately we do have stations where we have very or no cooperation, which has resulted in some of the things that have just happened recently.
Right. Catherine, you actually have been there too. What have you heard from migrants on how they're being treated by the police in the stations?
We're asking for very basic things. What we hear, or what I hear when I talk to migrants at different stations, is just to be treated like people. Unfortunately, what I hear a lot is they're treating us like animals, which is a terrible situation to be in when one person is treated that way. In terms of even just like the verbal communication between folks, or the lack thereof of verbal communication, of restricting access to bathrooms or restricting access to the lobbies, which are public areas, even often are used as cooling and warming centers during extreme temperatures. And so what we're talking about is very basic things. It's just about how do you treat people with respect.
One of those basic things is food, obviously. Diego, some of the migrants have had problems with food they've received. Can you tell us about what you heard from them too?
Yeah, our new arrivals have told us a lot of different things while staying at these police stations. One of those things being food, right? I think neighbors have definitely stepped up a lot within these past few months to help feed our new arrivals, but there's still a lot of space for the city to join in on us and collaborate on these efforts.
Erika, you said you also like to see the city issue sort of a Bill of Rights, right, for migrants living in police districts. What would that look like, and what do you think it could do to improve the situation?
Well, we would love to see some sort of rule set up where migrants know what the conditions will be at police stations, what to expect at police stations from the city, what kind of services are going to be receiving. And we would also love to see the police officers collaborating with our volunteers and the city to know that what is expected of them while our families are sleeping at police stations. So part of our ask has always been the same, has never changed. We want access to health care, we want access to better housing, we want 3 meals a day, which has never happened in the last 5 months that I've been involved. And we want people to have access to showers and running water.
just basic necessities,
Absolutely.
right? Basic necessities. Things we've learned in the past weeks have gotten out of hand, right? Catherine, we saw migrants arrested for allegedly assaulting police officers last week in districts 8 and 12. Were you surprised that the tensions actually at these stations have gotten this bad?
Not at all. I don't find any part of it surprising at all. I think, we're talking about a vulnerable population here. We're talking about folks who don't have a private space, a space to call their own, a space where they really get to decide what their living situation is like. But we're also talking about a department that has a long history of these kinds of interactions. We're talking about a department that is under a federal consent decree for the way that they treat citizens in the city and just residents as well. So it's not surprising that our newest neighbors are being subjected to the same kind of treatment and the same kind of attitudes that all of us have been subjected to in Chicago for a long time.
Right, obviously, and help has been a big part of, giving them a little food, like we said, right? Some clothing as well. Volunteers have been a big part of that. Diego, obviously, the city has been leaning heavily on work like the one you guys have been doing. How are you and your fellow volunteers been feeling after all these months?
We've been feeling a lot of different emotions, to be honest. I still think, though, that the city promised us creative solutions when we had a new mayor transition into the office, right? We're talking about plans that need to be long-term and not short-term. So, for example, right, we have nearly 2,000 migrants staying at police station floors. They sleep on police station floors. They eat on police station floors. We need to hear from the city and find out whether or not they are going to give us tangible solutions to the problems that migrants have been communicating with us. So, for example, the tent cities that have been proposed are not really a solution that we think is sustainable for our new neighbors.
Right, and you beat me to the question. I was going to ask you precisely about that proposal from Mayor Johnson about the tent city. Why don't you think, Erika, that would be a good solution for the migrants?
Well, again, it is a very low barrier to the way we're going to treat families. I was in a meeting yesterday where they discussed that they want to have families in these tent cities between 2 and 4 weeks. We, based on the history, that it's not going to be what's really going to happen when we have families at police stations for over 3.5 months. So we need to really focus on some of the housing needs that people have. In that same meeting that I was in yesterday, they talked about having people get on their own 2 feet and being able to rent an apartment. The reality is that people don't have credit, don't have jobs, and the ones that do have jobs, because they've been able to do it, are working under the table, which then they can't prove of income. So there is a lot more to this process for people to get on their feet. If we want really the city for our families, our migrant families, to take on that role, then we need to set up a plan, and we need to do a sustainable long-term plan. One of them is processing work permits a lot faster and quicker, because families are eager and ready to work. And so how do we do that collectively, not only with our city, but with our state, in conjunction with our federal government, to be able to provide those work permits that are so needed so that families can actually get on their feet and find housing, proper housing?
Catherine, well, what do you think would be a better solution than the tent that Mayor Johnson is proposing?
I think we have a lot of spaces in the city that are vacant. This is something that we talk about a lot as a nuisance. We're talking about vacant buildings, we're talking about vacant lots, even some vacant lots that are owned by the city already. And so I think there are a lot of opportunities for us to get into exactly what Erika is talking about with these long-term solutions. Because really, this is not a problem that started a year ago. This problem didn't start with Brandon Johnson or Lori Lightfoot or Greg Abbott. This problem started in 2008 when we had an opportunity to fix immigration and we didn't fix immigration. In 2003, when we established the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. These are forces that are not that old. We've been investing in surveillance and in enforcement for 20 years, and this is where it has gotten us. We could have been investing in expediting work permits, we could have been investing in housing, we could have been investing in case management, and we didn't. And so we need to really look at the full picture so that people can become independent and become stewards of their own lives.
That's the main thing, right? That they do become independent eventually. Housing is obviously a big part of the issue right here. Erika, you're also a realtor, and you have helped some immigrants find housing. How have you been able to do that?
So we've put a packet together, right?
We have less than 30 seconds.
So we put a packet together where we show their income, a letter of their employer, savings, a copy of their savings account to be able to show that they actually can pay rent. And especially some of our families have the housing vouchers from Catholic Charities. We put that packet together to be able to offer that as a solution to landlords around Chicago.
Right. So the idea would be to help even more immigrants find housing that way, and hopefully that can be done and real soon. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Thank you, Catherine Zamarron, Diego Garcia, and Erika Villegas for being here.
Thank you.
The sights, smells, and sounds of nature are a touchstone for every culture. And this month, the Morton Arboretum is inviting people to get back in touch with their roots. The Arboretum is housing a variety of events and programs highlighting Latino cultures and communities, beginning with the celebration o celebración de los árboles this weekend. Let's take a look.
We have Celebración de los Árboles, which is the first major event that will be happening this month. And it's not just us putting on a festival. It's us welcoming community members, community partners who will be a part of that and have been a part of that planning. Groups such as Latino Outdoors, Tortuga Hiking Club, we have Mujeres por Espacios Verdes, Chicago BIPOC Birders, and Casa Michoacán and Casa Aguascalientes will also be there. So we have also on Saturday, which is pretty cool, we have the tram tours on Saturday throughout the Arboretum will be all in Spanish. Storytelling throughout the month. We have birding hikes this weekend as well. They'll have bilingual guides. There's Terapia del Bosque, which is going to be a Spanish language forest therapy hike. That will be on September 24th. And there's Para Nuestras Tierras desde Nuestros Jardines, which is also a Spanish language program, which will be a gardening program on September 30th. We have 16 miles of hikeable trails. And I've had that moment where I've been walking with a group of people and I tell people to stop and just to look up. And they look up through the canopy or the tree canopy and I hear them go, wow.
At this month's events, you can also learn more about the Arboretum's Global Trees Conservation Program, which is helping scientists and residents in Mexico and Costa Rica conserve endangered oak species. You can find more information on our website. Up next, Joanna Hernandez and the challenges and opportunities of being first generation. Stay with us.
Being a first-generation Latino American comes with both rewards and struggles, from honoring your roots while defining your identity as an American, to dealing with the weight of family expectations while forgoing your own path. Here to share their own journeys as first-generation Latino Americans are Roxana Villatoro, a bilingual behavioral health counselor with Amita Health, Ernestina Perez, a licensed clinical therapist and founder of Latinx Talk Therapy, and Brian Aguirre, a photographer and founder of Mastermind Studios. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Brian, I want to start with you. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up and how do you define being first generation?
So I grew up in Bellwood since I was a kid. So my community was black and brown. I grew up just, I guess you could say, feeling a little bit of confusion from my household, being with only Spanish speaking and school would be only English. I didn't understand there was a change going on within my house and the school. I thought that this was normal, but I started realizing that I wasn't around a lot of Latinos growing up. So even my friendships, I wasn't speaking Spanish. I wasn't involved in any of that at all. So for me, it was more so of adapting to like the real world and kind of things that our parents don't understand or didn't have the knowledge or access to be able to tell us, you know, what was going to happen in our lives for the next couple of years. So it's kind of I guess the winging it part.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, trying to figure it all out, yeah.
Awesome. And Roxana, you had mentioned that your parents migrated here from Mexico. Can you talk to me about some of the challenges when you reflect back being the first?
So yes, my mom is actually from Cuernavaca, Morelos. My dad is from Guatemala, and my stepfather is from Guadalajara. And growing up here as a first gen, I think definitely comes with a lot of responsibility. But I think it also comes with a lot of pride, right? And knowing that you're setting and paving the way for not just your younger siblings, but also for anyone else in our community as Latinos and Latinas. And I think it came with a lot of trying, I think you mentioned it, right? Trying to figure it out in our own way, which I still am in a lot of different ways, right? But it comes with also knowing that sometimes it's okay to be selfish in ways that perhaps our parents were not able to accomplish certain things for themselves that they might have wanted. And by sacrificing those things, right, they wanted to provide a better future for us here. And knowing that, yes, it's okay to be selfish in the sense that we're going to make them proud in those ways that they were not able to fulfill for themselves.
Oh, that's very true. And Estina, you have a little bit of a different story. You came to the U.S. when you were 7 years old. Now tell me, what has it been like for you?
Yeah, so being undocumented in the United States can be really challenging. I think I was often in a space where I was trying to figure out where I belonged, with my parents at home speaking Spanish and overcoming a lot of the barriers that many immigrant families face in the United States, and then navigating my experiences out in the world at school and speaking English. I think one of the things that was most scary was having the sense of, there's a saying like, no es de aquí ni de allá, and you're trying to figure out like, who am I, what do I believe in, while still trying to be proud of what your parents taught you and your traditions, and the pressure to kind of assimilate to American culture and also own that identity of being American.
I always think about that scene in Selena when she's like, I'm not American enough for the Americans, I'm not Mexican enough for the Mexicans. Brian, going to you, you're a successful photographer. I mean, tell me about that journey. You shoot celebrities, you're all over. I mean, tell me where that interest, started.
So it started when I was a kid. I'm an artist. I do paintings, drawings. I've been doing that since I was young, writing poetry and stuff like that. So it's kind of just started from MySpace. I used to do graphic design on MySpace for people. I used to do their photos for like $15 and do party flyers and stuff. So one day my dad, he was a photographer when we were younger, and he would take pictures of architecture and stuff like that. So he just ended up buying a camera, and he was like, hey, you're pretty good at graphic design. If you had a more high quality camera, it would make your pictures look a lot better. So one day he bought a camera, and I was like, no, I'm not really interested. And I just one day grabbed it, started taking pictures, and I just started editing them of my sisters, cousins, people at school. And little by little, I started translating.
And when you got your first gig, your first real gig, how did that feel for you? Was there ever a moment you're like, oh my God, like imposter syndrome coming in?
Yeah, I think I still have that a lot because, I'm from Chicago, and we're, again, in Latino homes, we're not raised to believe, other than work. You need to work really, really hard. So us being in, America now and finding new ways to change our generations, to break these generational curses of, again, knowledge and information that they didn't have access to when they were younger that we do now. That I'm very, very grateful to be in this position as a Latino to, be doing
trying
this
to figure
art.
it out and creating our path.
It's
now,
beautiful.
Roxana, what got you inspired into going into the mental behavioral field?
Yeah, so my parents actually got divorced at when I was a very young age. And I remember my mom, right, making sure that both my brother and myself had a therapist, but also she had a therapist at the time. And I think back then, we think about mental health and it's still a big taboo topic. We've made a lot of progress, and I think thinking back to that, I really admire her in the sense that she was able to take that leap and saying, I'm going to get you the support that you need during this time of transition. And so I think now, being in this field, it has provided me with a sense of fulfillment and knowing that I'm making an impact in someone else's life, but also being able to meet them wherever it is that they are in their journey, whether it's through the obstacles or accomplishments in their lives.
Estina, you're also making waves yourself. You have your own practice. What has it been like for you?
Yeah, well, I think Latinx talk therapy is a reflection of being similar experiences, trying to find out what I believed in, who I was, trying to feel seen and connected, and finding a space where I could feel that I could be myself. I would say that it showed up in a while as anxiety, stress, and so really having the language is very important to be able to work through a lot of those things.
But I can also imagine it comes with challenges trying to figure it out, how to run your own business.
Yes.
How would you navigate that?
Well, it can be very tricky, but I think, you know, what I always tell Latinx people is don't give up, you know, believe in your worth, believe that you can do it, that you're smart and that you're competent. And so a lot of it is making time to process and to learn more information and finding mentorship so that you can continue to grow and don't feel so alone in those challenges.
And Brian, how would you say that now you're using what you've learned here in America and also the lessons that you've learned from your family to create just your own path?
Yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from my parents. You know, I think thinking about their journey of coming, crossing the border and telling me the experiences that they went through, it's extremely difficult. I think time to time, if would I be able to mentally do something like that, and I don't think I would be able to. So for me, I look at it as the inspiration of if they can do it, come to a place where they don't know the language, they don't know how to read, anything like that. What is my excuse that I have everything that they came here for me to do? Yeah. So it kind of pushes me and it motivates me that their resilience and, you know, eagerness for us to have a better future. Que sí se puede.
Now we only have a couple of seconds, but what's one word to describe yourself and your journey? Roxana?
Resiliency.
I say vulnerability.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Roxana. Thank you, Ernestina. And thank you, Bryant. And we're back with more right after this.
The Mexican Independence Day Parade kicks off this weekend in Little Village. This year's theme is Tu Mexico, Tu Chicago, and will shine a light on the different states in Mexico. The parade will have floats, mariachi bands, and folkloric dancing. We visited a studio called Ballet Folclórico de Chicago for a peek at one of the performing acts in the parade. The studio owner says she was inspired to start the dance organization to teach their two daughters more about their heritage. Now, she has more than 200 participants of all ages taking classes.
As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, I love the vibrancy of our community. Like, you know, we do gritos and we share the love of our culture. We're all so proud, and that's one thing that we teach the kids early on, because for me, it wasn't always like that. But here, now that we have this organization on the north side, we have this group of people who hang out together, who realize that they have a commonality of being Latino and Mexican.
The parade will start at the historic Little Village Arch on 26th Street. Joanna Hernandez will actually have more on the dance studio next week on Chicago Tonight. Well, as you know, music, of course, is a big part of any celebration. So for Hispanic Heritage Month, we've asked music journalist Sandra Treviño to dial in on a few music styles, genres, and trends across the Latino diaspora. She's kicking it off with a look at the Mexican regional music movement. Let's take a look.
The genre of Mexican regional music has gone up by 40% in just the last year. No, I don't believe it either, but it's happening. Regional Mexican music is being reflected in the music of young people. This new style of music from bands like Fuerza Regida, Peso Pluma, of course, and Danny Lux. So they are incorporating their own cultural influences into the music that they grew up with, whether it was corridos, tamborazo, banda, duranguense, and they're like, but we also love hip hop and we love trap and we also like reggaeton and other tropical sounds. Why don't we combine it and see what happens? And they're doing it in such a cool way. It's weird, but it's another band from Chicago that's doing something global. This one incorporates Afro-Cuban, Moldovan, and sounds from across the U.S. They are Beats y Bateria. They're creating this very unique sound on their own. Their new song, or one of their newest songs that we should listen to, is called Sirenas. Continue the Latin alternative fusion. Let's listen to something that comes from Caramelo Haze. They are a super group formed by members of Grupo Fantasma, The Color Brown, Dos Santos, among other bands. And so they're incorporating Afro-Colombian, disco, psychedelia, cumbia, rock, and pop into their music. Each of their tracks on their new album, titled No Estás Aquí, has a different flavor, but it's based on Latin music with modern songs. And so we're going to listen to something called Un Rezo.
Well, Sandra Treviño will be back with a dive into cumbia, so be sure to join us next week for that. That's going to be our show for this week. Don't forget to tune in to Noticias Univision Chicago every weekday morning. And if you leave tonight, we leave you tonight actually with some more Ballet Folclórico de Chicago. Now for all of us here at Chicago Tonight, Latino Voices, I'm Alex Hernandez. Muy buenas noches.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm whose attorneys embrace a culture of philanthropy and service by volunteering their time, expertise, and guidance to help others in the greater Chicago community.